At the conclusion of the qualifying lap, Shad and Jeff would secure a 17th place starting position, which would be crucial seeing that over 160 racers were expected come Friday. While still pleased with the outcome, Shad noticed the motor was down on power, a problem whose source was unknown. A newfound issue to diagnose, the team made their way back to camp.
So we're heading back to camp. Shad and Cooper just crossed the finish line for qualifying. They did under 10 minutes. The announcer said that it was the fastest 4,500 car, which is freaking awesome. But Shad said that the car's running rough. Something's going on with the motor. So we're cruising back to camp to see what's going on.
Shad put down a great time considering all the other qualifiers, especially the 4,500 class leads the 4,500 class at this point in qualifying time. I think a 9:54, so that puts them up there, had a lot of the 4,800 cars so far too. But that's the high. The low is we've got something going on with the engine. There was a lot more speed in that lap. The motor laid down, even stalled once. So we need to determine what's going on there. Hopefully, it's something that you can easily address and be ready for the show on Friday.
Unsure where the source of the engine troubles were, Kirk got to work. The question heavy on everyone's mind, would the car be fixed for Friday's race, or will this be another KOH 23? Left to their own devices, the pit crew worked tirelessly, while Shad, Jesse, and Jeff Cooper took some time to visit Doug at the Falcon Tires trailer, which would second as the team's main pit location come race day. As the evening approached, little progress had been made in diagnosing the race car's qualms. Instead, a plan was put in place to acquire a new PCM for the motor, as it was believed to be the source of the issues both the team and the dyno tuner were having.
Let me figure out a PCM. I believe I brought one. Last minute thrash loading up. If I didn't, I'll find one and we'll get the car to you.
Okay, and let me know because I do have an opening on Friday.
Our race day is Friday.
Okay.
And we've got tech and contingency Thursday at some point.
Well, let me take a look at the scheduling board.
Good afternoon. Tuesday, we qualified. Got that done. Had a pretty good run going. However, in the backside of the mountain here from Hammertown, there's quite a few uphill sand hills. Pretty grooved in. First one, motor just didn't feel right. Like, kind of down on power, like what's going on? You know, you're racing through your head, but you're still driving. Get to the second sand wash and man, we lost probably 40% power or maybe even more. So I asked my co-driver, Jeff Cooper, I'm like, man, should I pull over and save the motor? I don't want to hurt it any worse. And, you know, I'm cycling through that in my head while you're banging around. And I'm like, you know what? If it's going to blow up, it's going to either blow up now or it's going to blow up 2 miles into the race. Let's just go. Maybe it's something simple. So here we are back at pit and we're not sure. We don't know. We've pulled the fuel system out of the tank. You know, all the fuel system's all inside of the fuel cell. The pumps, the filters, all that stuff are actually wet. It's a wet system. Didn't see anything obvious like we were hoping for. So here we go. It always, as a driver, as a car builder, bums you out when you have something that you didn't make a mistake or you didn't have the talent to go fast. We just had a motor issue, but we got through it. That's why we didn't drop down back door. Still pretty pumped. We're still in the top 20, and I'll be honest with you, this morning before I got in the car, watching the guys beat the living you-know-what out of their cars down resolution, I'm like, I'd be really stoked with a top 30. I told Jeff when we got in the car, he's like, what's your plan? I said, I'm going to drive what I see. I'm going to do what I do, and it worked out. Top 20 for sure. We'll see where that lies after all the calculation stuff. Obviously, you'll see in some of the footage that we actually caught the guy in front of us in one of the sand canyons, and for whatever reason we were honking and beeping. He just slammed on his brakes, so we kind of gave him a nudge and pushed him out of the way, if you will, and kept going. So that cost us some time. I'm not dropping off back door, cost some time, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't have consistent throttle, so the last thing I want to do is go down there, hurt the car worse, or end up on our lid because I didn't have throttle control. Just the way it was running. Still pretty pumped to be in the top 20, especially with those issues we had. Old Betsy here is still a pretty good old car for being 12 years old, and this old Betsy, he still got it.
With an early appointment at the dyno, the team loaded up the race car. The fate of their Friday race in the hands of West Tech Performance and a newly acquired second-hand PCM.
Morning. Wednesday morning, KOH 24. As we told you yesterday, had a little bit of a motor issue during qualifying. Still had a decent qualifying lap, as we spoke about last night. A couple of my crew guys hooked up the car last night, put it on the trailer, and left here about 6 o'clock this morning, headed to Miraloma to West Tech to dyno the car. They believed that it was a corrupt computer, so we actually went by Patrick's shop and stole the computer out of his 4500 car, which was the same management system. Got it to the dyno first thing this morning. We're able to put a quick base tune in that computer. Car fired right up. Sounds like some of the ailments are gone. So they'll get the car on the dyno about 3 o'clock this afternoon, make some pulls, make sure everything else is happy, and we should be good to go. Pretty stoked that West Tech was able to, it's West Tech Performance out of Miraloma, California. They were able to squeeze us in today. They have a book schedule, but some of their customers were gracious enough, knowing that we're racing, to let their cars sit there for a couple extra days until we get our car in and get it done. So pretty stoked-ish over there. Stoked to be a part of what he's able to do for our car and our tune, and I think we found the right guy. So this morning, obviously, we got up a little late, kind of slept in a little bit. It's been a long few days out here. What is this, day 5? Yeah, I think it's day 5. We're gonna go take our JKs and Jesse's JL up Turkey Claw. We'll see if Jesse gets his door again this time, but hopefully not.
It's not going to happen this time. I'm getting redemption.
So anyways, Turkey Claw is the first kind of obstacle, mile marker 3-4-ish, somewhere in there. So it's a rock canyon, you know, there's plenty of places to get screwed up in there, and we just want to go and put our JKs through the paces and that gray JL for whatever reason. And again, just put our eyes on it. You know, you're going to be amped up early in the race, and people are going to make mistakes in there, and we got to go try to find some alternative lines so that when we get there, we don't have to sit there and study it and try to figure it out. We'll have 3 or 4 lines in our head after today, and that's a game plan for race day.
With the team now in higher spirits given the good news from the dyno, they headed for the rocks. What do you think so far?
A lot of options.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stay in the groove, be the faster line, and unless someone's stopped, maybe get around them. How's Jesse's doors?
So far, so good.
Good.
Back at camp, the team anxiously awaited the car's return. News from the dyno was that the tuning was successful, and it would be arriving later in the evening cured of its ailments. In the meantime, Shad, Jeff, and Jesse would attend the mandatory drivers meeting, which would outline the race rules and any updates ahead of race day. Typically a meeting consisting of clarifying questions and the occasional course dispute, this year's meeting served as a solemn reminder of the dangers involved in desert racing.
I'll give the microphone to Ben. It's been the best year so far for me, except for the loss of Austin. But I'm thankful that you guys are all here doing the things. And it's pretty fucking rad. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Welcome to the pre-race drivers meeting.
With the final drivers meeting in the books and Kurt arriving back at camp with the race car, the team was one step closer to race day.
good to be back. We could be halfway to Texas by now.
What'd you guys find out?
So, at the end of the day, the computer that was in it was laying down. It wasn't good. We were able to access another computer, so go back and put that bass tune in. But then the bigger problem that they spent almost 3 hours trying to rectify was a right-off idle, cracking the throttle on the rocks kind of situation. That motor had a bigger cam put in it, and it really exceeded the parameters of that MEFI system in that throttle body. So made a number of throttle body modifications to basically move air with throttle positioning in the closed position, which basically tells the computer everything is happy. And they did a really extensive job with the dyno. They were putting it under load, turning the wheel, everything that would simulate, humping that thing through the rocks to make sure it maintained a good idle, was responsive, and would not stall. And that was key. Probably spent 3 hours focused just on that, but that's what you want in a rig out here. So we're very confident we've got the hot rod now Shad needs. Get that guy behind the wheel, and man, this is ours to win.
The team made quick work of offloading the car, as Shad's eagerness to confirm whether or not the fix worked got the best of him. The relief in Shad's eyes as the two returned said it all. The team's engine problems were behind them, and with nothing left but tech and contingency, the team was finally ready. The following morning we were met with rain. Cars began lining up for tech as early as 7 a.m., Kurt being no exception. The purpose of a tech and contingency process is to ensure racers are in compliance with KOH rules in addition to having their cars outfitted with the proper safety equipment. During the safety inspection, marshals will take a look at seat belts, window nets, race suits, helmets, and fire extinguishers, which the team was required to replace. Safety in a race like this is paramount, and at the very least, the safety equipment on board is peace of mind should the worst case scenario occur out on course. Given the green light to race, the crew made their way back to camp to begin prepping. This race would be unique to years past and would require the team to have 3 pits. Main pit, which would be located at the Falcon race trailer, remote pit 1 out in the desert, and lastly, remote pit 2, which would take the crew to the outskirts of the notorious rock loop.
I think that's going to be okay. Got to make sure Shad does not hit the fire extinguisher. Larger fire extinguisher. So we had to change its location from back here to here because it was too difficult to get out here, and obviously it's safety equipment. If you need it, you got to be able to easily get to it. So I think that that's going to clear his calf fire, and we'll have him get in here, make sure. But I think we're golden there. Boom, boom.
Bins would be created for each pit and would include things like spare parts, fluids, tooling, floor jacks, spill kits, fire extinguishers, and race fuel. As the race progresses, pit crews will have to leapfrog their way from one pit to the next ahead of Shad's arrival.
We got our fluids, so that's kind of good to go. 1 tire, small dump can, and we're getting ready to go out to pit 1 tomorrow to win this race.
Prepping with Kurt is a workout. To say he wears many hats would be an understatement. His role and dedication, however, will help to ensure the team has everything they need just an arm's length away.
Thank you, Kurt.
Ghetto cats.
Kurt, that's all that's going to Maine, right?
That's all that goes to Maine, yeah. Well, Bobby's still going to want to just use the bag and put the larger stuff in that. He tries to put those larger wrenches and stuff in there.
The back of the car.
Yeah,
because we'll have the box still back there, and then
beside the box. We're getting ready. We're getting ready. It's coming together. I'll go to 2.
The crew all together and with preparations complete, it was time to run through the following day's plans during Shad's routine pre-race pit meeting.
Car's running good. I don't expect any problems, but it's racing. We're starting 17th, so when you line up overall, so you'll be lining up in 17th position, which is a map in there for the morning.
Yep, got it.
We'll meet you down there before 7 because we've got the whole parade thing with the Pledge Allegiance. So we're going to go out into the infield, all the cars are going to park, and we do Pledge Allegiance, I believe. When you guys are going from pit to pit, there's been a couple fatalities already out here this week.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
There's no dust.
So just take your time. Like the last thing we need is that on our backs. Like the race is way secondary to anybody getting hurt. Let's have fun. Kill it. I got a job to do. You got a job to do? Cooper, you ready? Ready. Thank you. You guys rock. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Hey, to Shad for the opportunity that he's given all of us, man.
Spirits higher than ever, the remainder of the evening was spent around the fire enjoying each other's company, while swapping stories of races past as we all anxiously awaited the day ahead.
Friday morning, King of the Hammers 24. It's race day. We're ready finally. Car's in badass shape. Crew did a kick-ass job all week. Best car I've ever had out here. Starting at a decent position. Feel really good about today. Weather's absolutely gorgeous. Really, it's just up to me now. Got to go do what I do. You know, we couldn't be here without all my friends and family and the sponsors. You know, there's a ton of people behind us, and that's super important. You know, Falcon Tire, Vision Wheel, Fox Shocks, Rapid Wraps, Maglite, Baja Designs. Out here on the lake bed, absolutely killed it. Hooked us up with some brand new stuff. You know, our lighting was 12 years old. Not that it was bad stuff, but it was just old. So they hooked that stuff up. Of course, Rock Jock, Curry Enterprises. It's go time. So follow along.
Good morning, guys. Today's race day. We are overly excited to have this car running the best that it's ever ran. Appreciate all your guys' support. Hope you guys are watching us.
With Shad and Jesse out on course and leading the 4500 class, the rest of the crew waited anxiously. Kurt nervously reorganized the pit table more than once, while Cooper, who would be joining Shad in a little over an hour, remained glued to the Garmin GPS and live feed.
Okay, so we're 63 miles into the desert lap. Everything's going well. Shad is running first in class. We're not sure where he sits physically on the course with the 4,800 cars in front of him, but that doesn't really matter. They can streak away, and as long as they can, get through the rocks, then it's a race to the rocks for Shad, for sure. So he's doing exactly what I think he planned to do, and that was take care of the car, get it in here, and get it out on the rocks where that thing really shines. So we're in good shape. He's coming in. We've heard nothing about a tire issue. We'll know as he approaches. He'll radio and tell us. But we don't know that they ever stopped and racked a tire, so we believe it's just a full fuel stop and a driver change. Jesse will come out as a co-driver, and Jeff Cooper will go in for the rock lap. So again, everything right now, we are right on point.
One static-filled radio transmission later, and the pit was alive. Shad would be arriving shortly, and the team needed to be on their A game in order to swap drivers and fuel up while maintaining the lead. What felt like forever in silence was interrupted by none other than Venom's 6.2-liter V8 as Shad and Jesse crested the hill and headed towards main pit. A scramble of organized chaos ensued. As Jeff took Jesse's place, the car took on fuel and a visual inspection was performed to ensure the car was free of any major leaks or damage. With haste, the pit crew packed up their gear, loaded into the Jeeps, and headed for Remote Pit 2. Meanwhile, Shad and Jeff were preparing to face off against Johnson Valley's most notorious trail systems, starting with Aftershock. Back at Remote Pit 2, the team was on standby. As nothing more than a cloud of amber dust approached, Shad indicated via radio that he was electing to bypass the pit altogether. The car was performing as it should, and the two were feeling more eager than ever to cross the finish line. Shortly after the two passed the pits, an uneasy feeling came over the group as Shad radioed that he was exiting the vehicle due to a possible break. As time passed on, their tracker remained at a standstill. Radio communications were nearly non-existent, and the team adopted the mantra, "No news is good news."
As long as it stays together.
Yeah.
After what felt like forever and a day, the car started to move again. The crew took a deep breath after it was confirmed that what Shad thought was a bad ring and pinion turned out to be a bent wheel, which caused a tire to blow out and damage the front brake caliper. After performing a trail fix, and with the lead still theirs, they kept pushing as the pit crew prepared for Shad to stop on his second rock lap.
Okay, a little race update for you. Obviously, we're on the rock lap, second lap of our 4,500 race. Things have been going really good. They bypassed us the first time on this pit. Shad just said all's good, so away they went. They'll certainly hit us on the second time back on the rocks because they're going to need fuel. We did, after he bypassed this, he did stop. He did radio in that they had a noise. They got out, looked at it, determined to be something with the front ring and pinion. Shad said they'd just keep going. So, and they have. They've been moving along okay. They were stopped for about 6 or 7 minutes just before climbing into Jack North. This was about 5 minutes ago. After coming down Chocolate, they have a valley, then they hit Jack North. That's right before you start to get back into some rock sections. We're not sure why they were stopped. It could have been that Jack was bottled up, necked up, and they couldn't move, or they may have taken that opportunity to get out and take another look at the car. Or they could have had to get out of the car for some reason. We don't really know. But the good news is it looks like they're up Jack North and moving along. So we're encouraged. Obviously, it's a little concern in whatever noise they're dealing with, but Shad's the best at knowing how to deal with that. If he knows he's got a front end problem, if he believes it's in the ring and pinion, he's going to drive as carefully as he can, and I imagine would have Cooper pull any line they need to instead of really hustling the car up a tough obstacle, right? So we're physically appears, we're not tracking the other cars, but we appear to be 10, 15 minutes ahead of the next class car. So it looks like everything's going good from that standpoint. We just need the car to hang in there. So we'll keep watching. We'll hope for them to get here to the pit. We'll get them fueled. May hear a little more of what's going on. We'll obviously take a close look. If it is something internal, obviously nothing we can do. But we're going to stay with it here and see if we can't bring this thing home.
With the trail repair, which consisted of vice grips and zip ties holding strong, Shad and Cooper were back in the race. One final pit stop to replace the damaged wheel and take on fuel would be the last time the pit crew would see the car before returning to Hammertown. And with the finish line nearly in sight, the team was eager to get the car back on course as soon as possible. Competition hot on their heels, the two pushed their way through Bigfoot Canyon, one of the final obstacles before entering Hammertown and securing their victory. Or so they thought. In an attempt to navigate a faster line, the entire weight of Venom's chassis landed on a lower link Heim, shearing it from the car and rendering the two motionless and without a front drive shaft. Knowing their lead was quickly dwindling, Shad and Cooper got to work, utilizing their winch to reposition the front axle in such a way that allowed them to clock the drive shaft and replace the Heim joint. 37 minutes later, the two were back in the car, their final mission to make up as much time as possible and cross the finish line.
is Shad Kennedy in the 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle Modified, hitting the Yukon launch, grabbing the checkered flag. Shad Kennedy coming here all the way to Hammertown and bringing home the unofficial win for the 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle Modified class. And that Poison Spider machine that has raced with us here at King of the Hammers for a very, very long time.
I'm up here with our unofficial first place in our 4500 class, Shad Kennedy. How do you feel right now?
Whooped. we had a great race going. Just kind of raced our own race all day, like it was back and forth early on with a couple other guys. And, we got a text across our Garmin that said, we had a 35-minute lead. We were just kind of cruising and made a driver mistake, just dropped off a rock a little too hard and broke a heim on the lower link in the front, and drive shaft comes apart, and we jumped out and got the tools out and got it back to work. And the leaders said, we maybe they went by 2 or 3 minutes by the time we belted back in. So we were able just to kind of keep up with them. And in Spooners, there was some traffic, and Outer Limits, there was some traffic. And we kind of just got lucky, smashed a new Baja Designs light up pretty good, getting around them. But got around, I think, Jimmy Jack's car. I'm not sure who's driving it, but Jim Artisan, badass, yeah. So yeah, there was a couple cars stuck, and he got caught up in that, and we ended up getting around him, and then just tried to. I knew he started behind us, so I knew we had to make every second count on the way back, and here we are.
Exactly. Here you are. You're up here unofficially in that number 1 spot. Who all would you like to thank for getting you out here?
Nobody. No, just kidding. Obviously, couldn't do without it. This crowd here, my family and my friends, they've been supporting me for a long time. Falcon Tire. We've got Fox Shocks, Rock Jock by John Curry, Kurt Curry Axles, Vision Wheels, FK Rod Ends, Maglite, PCI, and Summit 4x4 Company in Prescott, Arizona.
Well, congratulations. We're going to let your whole crew come over and take a picture, but Shad, congratulations on your unofficial number 1 spot.
Thank you so much.
Back to the booth.
After a quick interview on the podium, it was time to celebrate. Friends, family, and sponsors gathered around to congratulate the crew and see firsthand how harsh the terrain can be. To finish the race felt amazing. To celebrate amongst those whose efforts made it possible was the cherry on top. First across the finish line in the 4500 class, the team would go on to place second due to adjusted timing.
In this number 2 spot, big old smiles. We talked earlier, and here you are up here getting that trophy. How do you feel?
Amazing. Great week. We had just a flawless week, really. Had to send the car back to dyno, had a corrupt computer early in the week. But West Tech Performance in Mariloma, California, dialed it in, put in a computer, and had an amazing race until we didn't. We obviously our tracker wasn't working. I think we were in the first car on the road, whether we were time in the lead or not, at mile marker 10 or 12, and ran there all day long, and got a text through our Garmin and said we had a 35-minute lead. Didn't know if that was physical or time or whatever. And about a mile and a half later, I broke a lower link heim. And that took us about 37 minutes to fix. Of course, the drive shaft came out. My co-driver for the Rocks, Jeff Cooper here, we just worked our butts off to get it back together. As soon as we got strapped in the car, the leaders came around, and we just did our best. Didn't know where everybody was. Didn't know where, we knew we had every second counted, but we gave it our all, and here we are with second. We're stoked.
Well, second place, that is awesome, though. I mean, out here finishing the Everman Challenge, so congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right, anybody you want to thank?
Oh, we have a ton of people. Obviously, I've got about 30 or 40 people out here that have taken their personal vacation time, whatever, to get out here and support my race effort. These two guys, Jeff Cooper and Jesse Wassel here from Summit 4x4. We Falcon tires. This first year back in a couple years since COVID, so we ran their tires today flawlessly. Vision wheels, FK, Curry axles, Rock Jock, Fox shocks. There's a ton more. I'll forget them, but just stoked to be here. Great to be back.
Well, congratulations up here on the number 2 spot.
Thank you so much.
All right.
To complete a race like this is a feat of and in itself. To place is a different feeling altogether. The success the team experienced on the lake bed was the result of hard work, friendships, family, the incredible support from our sponsors, but most of all, passion. And while the car may be a bit banged up and its occupants a little sore, you can bet after a few hours in the shop, they'll be back to do it again.
Action!
All right, here we are. It's Friday. We've been here 8 days. 2024 King of the Hammers. Summit crews all here. Today was race day. We started 17th overall, 3rd in class. Kind of had a plan just to go out there and just drive what we saw and let the car do the work. It felt like we didn't race all day, in all honesty, until maybe the last 15 miles or so. Had a great desert lap with Jesse. Very silent, it was peaceful. And we were able to click along, race straight to Turkey Claw, got through that safe and smooth, and got out in the open desert. And the guy that qualified first, he was off the side. And Jesse and I just kind of kept battling the first place guy now at that time, and we just kind of, not beating the car up, having a great time. Finally got around him, never saw him again. Came in and did the driver change with Jesse and Jeff Cooper. Jeff Cooper got in for the rock lap. We went out and we were just clunking along. Like, I felt like our plan was just working all day long. And then we get a text. We thought we had about a 35-minute lead at the time. We both kind of relaxed. I made a little driver's mistake, broke a Heim, drive shaft came apart. Took us about 37 minutes to fix it. We were getting buckled back in the car, and the leaders, the front pack of 4,500 had just passed us. We're like, okay, we got a couple of canyons to go. This car has got all kinds of rock crawl in it, and we got around them. As you can see, we had to do a little extreme maneuvers to get around. Actually, the guy that won, he was stuck in outer limits and pretty boggled up in there, actually. He couldn't go forward, he couldn't go back. So we just took a line that I've never even thought was a line in outer limits, and got a little bit of trail damage, but got around them, and it just kept clunking along. Spooners, we caught 3 or 4 other bottlenecks, and people were stuck and trying to winch, and we kind of just weaved our way through them and got to the finish. First overall, got first car to the finish. I told Jeff Cooper that, after we got out of Spooners, I'm like, hey, you need to be the best you can be. I need all of you right now because every second's going to count. We knew we had to race as hard as we possibly could. And so we just put the skinny pedal to the floor and raced as hard as we could. With the car, it was pretty worn out from a long day at the Hammers, and got back safely. First car up on the box. Unfortunately, there was a car that started 51st or so that we weren't tracking all day, and he beat us by 6 minutes. We had one flat, and I don't even know if it was a flat. I think we hit a wheel. I like to run my tire pressure a little lower than everybody else. I don't think it's a wheel problem. I don't think it's a tire problem. We actually stopped. Jeff Cooper got out and one of the rock laps, and I felt this rotational noise. I thought, man, my front ring of pinion's going out. The wheel was bent, didn't see it, got back in the car, and of course it got better, right? Why does it get better? Aluminum goes away. So went down Jackhammer, up Chocolate Thunder, ended up figuring out that we had a flat tire, and I'm sure it was because the wheel went square because I hit something with a lower pressure tire. Changed that pretty quick, back in, still had the lead. And long story short, we came up a little bit short, but I'll be honest with you. You know what? After building this car 12 years ago, it's still relevant today in this class, which is just like that biggest check mark. The reason I wanted it back, I knew it had it in it, and follow along.